I would like to watch the Kamala Harris speech first. I actually, real reaction, guys, I actually haven't seen it. I've only seen clips of it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my God. People are so sweaty. The audience.
Thank you all. Okay, we got to get to some business. We got to get to some business. Okay, thank you all. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please, thank you, please, thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay, let's get to business. Let's get to business. All right. So let me start by thanking my most incredible husband, Doug, for being an incredible partner to me, an incredible father to Cole and Ella.
I'm like such a hater. Like, I feel so bad. I'm such a hater because why did I see this and think, what emotion is being expressed here? I'm only getting the emotion like Mr. Potato Head. Like, I'm not getting a human emotion. It's not happiness, for sure.
Ella, and happy anniversary, Dougie. I love you so very much. To our President Joe Biden. When I think about the path that we have traveled together, Joe, I am filled with gratitude. Your record is extraordinary, as history will show, and your character is inspiring. And Doug and I love you and Jill and are forever thankful to you both. And to Coach Tim Walz, you are going to be an incredible vice president. And to the delegate.
Tim Walz does this like he puts both of his palms on each other and he nods his head slightly. He does this namaste thing that's really funny every time he does it. It's so funny. Oh my God. Oh, precise gameplay. Thank you. Thank you for the 17 months. Denim certified hater. Can I be a hater? Is that okay with you guys, or are you guys gonna get mad at me if I'm being a hater? If I'm gonna vote for these fuckers, the least I can do is shit on them a little. Like, what?
And everyone who has put your faith in our campaign, your support is humbling. So, America, the path that led me here in recent weeks was no doubt unexpected. But I'm no stranger to unlikely journeys. So, my mother, our mother, Kamala Harris, had one of her own, and I miss her every day, and especially right now. And I know she's looking down, smiling. I know that. So my mother was 19 when she crossed the world alone, traveling from India to California with an unshakable dream to be the scientist who would cure breast cancer.
Blasting your mom for her L's? Bro.
When she finished school, she was supposed to return home to a traditional arranged marriage. But as fate would have it, she met my father, Donald Harris, a student from Jamaica. They fell in love and got married, and that act of self-determination made my sister Maya and me. Growing up, we moved a lot. I will always remember that big Mayflower truck packed with all our belongings, ready to go to Illinois, to Wisconsin, and wherever our parents' jobs took us. My early memories of our parents together are very joyful ones. A home filled with laughter and music, Aretha, Coltrane, and Miles.
Aretha.
At the park, my mother would say, "Stay close." But my father would say, as he smiled, "Run, Kamala, run. Don't be afraid. Don't let anything stop you." From my earliest years, he taught me to be fearless. But the harmony between my parents did not last. When I was in elementary school, they split up. And it was mostly my mother who raised us. Before she could finally afford to buy a home, she rented a small apartment in the East Bay. In the Bay, you either live in the hills or the flatlands. We lived in the flats. A beautiful working-class neighborhood of firefighters, nurses, and construction workers, all who tend...
I'm sorry. She's just trying to hit every buzzword, every area she's ever even like walked in. She's like, you know, I spent a good amount of time in Nashville, Tennessee. I went there once. It was a formative experience. Anyone else from Nashville, Tennessee? Yeah. Yeah. What the? Oh, you know, I was in the Bay. Yeah. Anyone else in the Bay? Yeah. Yeah. We were in the flatlands. Anyone else? Anyone else from the flat?
Tended their lawns with pride. My mother, she worked long hours, and like many working parents, she leaned on a trusted circle to help raise us. Mrs. Shelton, who ran the daycare below us and became a second mother. Uncle Sherman, Aunt Mary, Uncle Freddie, Auntie Chris. None of them family by blood, and all of them family by love. Family who taught us how to make gumbo, how to play chess, and sometimes even let us win. Family who loved us, believed in us, and told us we could be anything and do anything. They instilled in us the values they personified: community, faith, and the importance of treating others as you would want to be treated.
Kamala, I didn't know you wanted us all to drone strike your house. You should have just said so. Oh my God. We can get that arranged. Just send the letter in. Let's get a confirmation from you. And then, you know, we can work something out. I'm sure we must have some spare lying around, right? I didn't know that you also wanted to live in fear all day, every day, with no clean water or food. Just say that next time.
With kindness.
And yes, we will send them with kindness and respect.
Respect and compassion. My mother was a brilliant, 5-foot-tall, brown woman with an accent. And as the eldest child, I saw how the world would sometimes treat her. But my mother never lost her cool. She was tough, courageous, a trailblazer in the fight for women's health, and she taught Maya and me a lesson that Michelle mentioned the other night. She taught us to never complain about injustice, but do something about it. Do something about it. That was my mother. And And she taught us, and she also taught us, and never do anything half-assed. And that is a direct quote. A direct quote. I grew up immersed in the ideals of the civil rights movement. My parents had met at a civil rights gathering, and they made sure that we learned about civil rights leaders, including the lawyers like Thurgood Marshall and Constance Baker Motley, those who battled in the courtroom to make real the promise of America. So at a young age, I decided I wanted to do that work. I wanted to be a lawyer. And when it came time to choose the type of law I would pursue, I reflected on a pivotal moment in my life. You see, when I was in high school, I started to notice something about my best friend, Wanda. She was sad at school, and there were times she didn't want to go home. So one day I asked if everything was all right, and she confided in me that she was being sexually abused by her stepfather. And I immediately told her she had to come stay with us, and she did. This is one of the reasons I became a prosecutor, to protect people like Wanda, because I believe everyone has a right to safety, to dignity, and to justice. As a prosecutor, when I had a case, I charged it not in the name of the victim, but in the name of the people. For a simple reason. In our system of justice, a harm against any one of us is a harm against all of us.
I guess that doesn't apply to Palestinians.
And I would often explain this to console survivors of crime, to remind them no one should be made to fight alone. We are all in this together. And every day in the courtroom, I stood proudly before a judge and I said 5 words: Kamala Harris for the people. And to be clear, my entire career, I've only had one client, the people. And so, on behalf of the people, on behalf of every American, regardless of party, race, gender, or the language your grandmother speaks, on behalf of my mother and everyone who has ever set out on their own unlikely journey, on behalf of Americans like the people I grew up with, people who work hard, chase their dreams, and look out for one another, on behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America. And with this election, our nation with this election has a precious, fleeting opportunity to move past the bitterness cynicism, and divisive battles of the past a chance to chart a new way forward. Not as members of any one party or faction, but as Americans. And let me say, I know there are people of various political views watching tonight, and I want you to know, I promise to be a president for all Americans. You can always trust me to put country above party and self, to hold sacred America's fundamental principles, from the rule of law to free and fair elections to the peaceful transfer of power. I will be a president who unites us around our highest aspirations, a president who leads and listens, who is realistic, practical, and has common sense, and always fights for the American people. From the courthouse to the White House, that has been my life's work. As a young courtroom prosecutor in Oakland, California, I stood up for women and children against predators who abuse them. As Attorney General of California, I took on the big banks, delivered $20 billion for middle-class families who faced foreclosure, and helped pass a homeowner Bill of Rights, one of the first of its kind in the nation.
All right. Before my brain melts any further. Quick intermission. I mean, this speech slaps if you're a liberal, dude. It fucking goes crazy if you're a liberal. Always fights for the American people unless you're Palestinian or unless you're a hostage in Gaza. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Hey, quick question. Is this good? Hey, quick question. Is this good? Guys, bye. Guys, quick bye. Yes, if you're a psychopath, perfect. Perfect. What is it from? It's Lockheed Martin. War machine, Lockheed Martin. But the other thing I was going to say was, I just want to be such a hater the entire time on this entire speech. But the thing that I hate about being a hater is that it brings out the dumb haters. The haters who hate Kamala, but for like really stupid reasons. Like these people. Does Kamala stand for anything? She still has like one policy though, or what? It's like, God, you're so fucking dumb, dude. I hate her because she doesn't give a shit about Palestinian people and doesn't care about murdering tens of thousands of children. What is this dumbass fucking? Oh, she only has one policy. Fucking Google is free, dude. It's free. She has plenty of policies. Okay. I don't even know how you. This is the problem with being a hater. This is the problem. It attracts the stupid haters. So frustrating.
I stood up for veterans and students being scammed by big for-profit colleges, for workers who are being cheated out of their wages, the wages they were due.
Oh, she has policies? Well, I never learned to read, so I wouldn't know.
For seniors seniors facing elder abuse. I fought against the cartels who traffic in guns and drugs and human beings, who threaten the security of our border and the safety of our communities. And I will tell you, these fights were not easy, and neither were the elections that put me in those offices. We were underestimated at practically every turn, but we never gave up, because the future is always worth fighting for. And that's the fight we are in right now, a fight for America's future. Fellow Americans, this election...
Yeah, you guys already said it to them, but what the fuck do you expect her to do about Palestine? Like, literally anything. She can stop giving billions of dollars. She can say she'll stop giving billions of dollars to Israel. She can stop giving weapons to Israel. She can strong arm Bibi into forcing a hostage exchange. She can call for an immediate ceasefire. She can participate in an arms embargo or any of the above. Like, yeah, but you think it's that simple? Sorry, that Israel is an important strategic location for the U.S. Dumb. You know that, like, the U.S. can still be allied with Israel and we can just continue to send money to Israel, but, you know, have requirements for the money we send them. Like, hey, we give you guys like billions of dollars every year. We give you guys weapons, billions of dollars worth of weapons every year. Stop bombing Palestinians. Okay? We're cutting off funding until then. Damn, you're smart. You should run for president. I got too many bitches to fuck, bro. Okay, I gotta make fun of people like you, dude. I don't got time for that shit, man. Come on, be fucking for real. Be for real, okay? Be for real for 2 seconds. Oh my God. You don't even understand the fact that we can give money with some stipulations. You don't even understand the fact that the U.S. shouldn't be so cucked that we just have to give them the money and they can just do whatever the fuck they want. You unironically think that the U.S. should just, here you go, Israel. Don't do anything stupid with this money. Please don't do anything dumb with it. Oh, you killed tens of thousands of people. That's okay. Here, do you want more money? Like, that's the world that you live in. And you don't think you should reevaluate that worldview? You don't think that the strongest, richest country on the planet that has been funding the state of Israel's existence for how many years has a little bit of bargaining power and should use that bargaining power? The reason that Kamala Harris, as well as many other people that have run for office, haven't done shit about Israel, which you would know this if you spent any time researching it, is because of funding and lobbying. And presidents don't want to give up their super PACs that give them millions of dollars every year to make sure that the state of Israel continues to get to bomb whoever the fuck they want. But you would know that if you researched anything at all for 2 seconds. Okay? For 2 seconds. Not difficult, man. Not difficult.
Is not only the most important of our lives, it is one of the most important in the life of our nation. In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious. Consider not only the chaos and calamity when he was in office, but also the gravity of what has happened since he lost the last election. Donald Trump tried to throw away your votes. When he failed, he sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol, where they assaulted law enforcement officers. When politicians in his own party begged him to call off the mob and send help, he did the opposite. He fanned the flames. And now, for an entirely different set of crimes, he was found guilty of fraud by a jury of everyday Americans and separately found liable for committing sexual abuse. And consider what he intends to do if we give him power again. Consider his explicit intent to set free violent extremists who assaulted those law enforcement officers at the Capitol. His explicit intent to jail journalists, political opponents, and anyone he sees as the enemy. His explicit intent to deploy our active duty military against our own citizens. Consider the power he will have, especially after the United States Supreme Court just ruled that he would be immune from criminal prosecution. Just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails, and how he would use the immense powers of the presidency of the United States, not to improve your life, not to strengthen our national security, but to serve the only client he has ever had, himself. And we know, and
It's so annoying because, like, it's oh, it's so boring to hear her talk about this stupid shit that I don't give a fuck about at all. But I know that she's doing it because it's the right thing to do for her party. And that the people who actually like her are like, they're losing their mind. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Oh my God, yes, yes. I also hate Donald Trump. Oh my God. I agree. I agree.
we know what a second Trump term would look like. It's all laid out in Project 2025, written by his closest advisors, and its sum total is to pull our country back to the past. But America, we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back to when Donald Trump tried to cut Social Security and Medicare. We are not going back to when he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, when insurance companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions. We are not going to let him eliminate the Department of Education that funds our public schools. We are not going to let him end programs like Head Start that provide preschool and child care for our children. America, we are not going back. And we are charting a new way forward. Forward to a future with a strong and growing middle class, because we know a strong middle class has always been critical to America's success. And building that middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. And I'll tell you, this is personal for me. The middle class is where I come from. My mother kept a strict budget. We lived within our means, yet we wanted for little. And she expected us to make the most of the opportunities that were available to us and to be grateful for them. Because, as she taught us, opportunity is not available to everyone. That's why we will create what I call an opportunity economy where everyone has the chance to compete and a chance to succeed. Whether you live in a rural area, small town, or big city. And as president, I will bring together labor and workers and small business owners and entrepreneurs and American companies to create jobs, to grow our economy, and to lower the cost of everyday needs like health care and housing and groceries. We will provide access to capital for small business owners and entrepreneurs and founders. And we will end America's housing shortage and protect Social Security and Medicare.
Why don't politicians ever talk about the lower class? What? Because that would force them to care about the poor and address them. 12th doctor, thank you for the 10 months.
Now compare that
No,
to
I'm kidding. The real reason is because poor people are really annoying. Source, I'm very annoying. And most people in chat are probably also very annoying. And they don't want to appeal to you because they don't want you showing up to your rallies, to the rallies. They can win without you and they don't give a shit about you. Unironically, that's the reason why.
Donald Trump, because I think everyone here knows he doesn't actually fight for the middle class. He doesn't actually fight for the middle class. Instead, he fights for himself and his billionaire friends. And he will give them another round of tax breaks that will add up to $5 trillion to the national debt. And all the while, he intends to enact what in effect is a national sales tax, call it a Trump tax, that would raise prices on middle-class families by almost $4,000 a year. Well, instead of a Trump tax hike, we will pass a middle-class tax cut that will benefit more than 100 million Americans. Friends, I believe America cannot truly be prosperous unless Americans are fully able to make their own decisions about their own lives, especially on matters of heart and home. But tonight, in America, too many women are not able to make those decisions. And let's be clear about how we got here. Donald Trump handpicked members of the United States Supreme Court to take away reproductive freedom. And now he brags about it. In his words, quote, "I did it and I'm proud to have done it," end quote. Well, I'll tell you, over the past 2 years, I've traveled across our country, and women have told me their stories. Husbands and fathers have shared theirs. Stories of women miscarrying in a parking lot, developing sepsis, losing the ability to ever again have children, all because doctors are afraid they may go to jail for caring for their patients. Couples just trying to grow their family. cut off in the middle of IVF treatments, children who have survived sexual assault, potentially being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. This is what's happening in our country because of Donald Trump. And understand, he is not done. As a part of his agenda.
Oh my God, I don't care about Donald Trump. I don't give a fuck. Ah. Oh my God. Jesus. Can I ask a genuine question? How do people properly research and understand the political figures you've never heard of without falling into the trap of misinformation, et cetera? It's a lot to consume. Well, I think one general good rule, and I've stood by this rule, even if people don't like it, is if you see Fox News praising Democrats, that's probably not fake news misinfo. And if you see, well, to be honest, it doesn't really go the other way. It only kind of goes one way. Besides that, just like look at their voting record when they've been in other positions of power. So like, what was her record as an attorney? What was her record as a senator? Oh, let's look at all of the bills that she voted on, or let's look at all of the ways that she voted. Okay. All right, cool. She voted progressively here and not progressively here. And okay, got it. Most of this information, actually all this information is publicly available. Also, sorry, this one chatter is just like, I can't believe it's so funny to me. She has no policy on her website is what I meant, because she will do whatever the party wants her to, and she refuses to share her beliefs publicly when she's unscripted. I just read her website, you rats. They just asked me for money? Question mark, question mark, question mark. There's no policy she stands for. I am asking you to have just one more brain cell and just think about this. Do you really think that if a candidate hasn't listed all of their policies on their website, it means they don't have any policies? What do you think candidates did before the internet? They didn't have policy? Just think for a second. Just think. Just for 1 second. Oh my God.
He and his allies would limit access to birth control, ban medication abortion, and enact a nationwide abortion ban with or without Congress. And get this, he plans to create a national anti-abortion coordinator and force states to report on women's miscarriages and abortions. Simply put, they are out of their minds. And one must ask, why exactly is it that they don't trust women? Well, we trust women. We trust women. And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. In this election, many other fundamental freedoms are at stake. The freedom to live safe from gun violence in our schools, communities, and places of worship. The freedom to love who you love openly and with pride. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean.
Genuinely got me angry, DNM heart.
Yeah. Topaz, thank you for the 7 months. Real Slow, like, thank you for the 12 months. I think it would have been a better strat to just skip to the we will restore / protect freedoms. No, because the speech isn't for us. It's never been for us. They don't talk to leftists because leftists are impossible to please, as evidenced by everybody in here. Be fucking for real. This is not for us. This is for liberals. This is for moderates And I think she's doing a good job appealing to those people.
Clean water and live free from the pollution that fuels the climate crisis, and the freedom that unlocks all the others the freedom to vote. With this election, we finally have the opportunity to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. And let me be clear, after decades in law enforcement, I know the importance of safety and security, especially at our border. Last year, Joe and I brought together Democrats and conservative Republicans to write the strongest border bill in decades. The Border Patrol endorsed it. But Donald Trump believes a border deal would hurt his campaign. So he ordered his allies in Congress to kill the deal. Well, I refuse to play politics with our security, and here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the bipartisan border security bill that he killed, and I will sign it into law.
Fuck the immigrants. Hell yeah. Burn them at the stake.
I know.
Yeah,
we can live up to our proud heritage as a nation of immigrants and reform our broken immigration system. We can create an earned pathway to citizenship and secure our border. And America, we must also be steadfast in advancing our security and values abroad.
Oh, no. Lord, give me strength. Lord. What is their answer for why they haven't done these things already? If the party is already in power now, we couldn't get enough votes, and we're struggling to get work done with Congress, and Republicans are blocking everything, and blah, 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 blah.
As vice president, I have confronted threats to our security, negotiated with foreign leaders, strengthened our alliances, and engaged with our brave troops overseas. As Commander-in-Chief, I will ensure America always has the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world. And I will fulfill our sacred obligation to care for our troops and their families, and I will always honor and never disparage their service and their sacrifice.
Murder, murder, murder.
I will make sure that we lead the world into the future on space and artificial intelligence, that America, not China, wins the competition for the 21st century, and that we strengthen, not abdicate, our global leadership. Trump, on the other hand, threatened to abandon NATO. He encouraged Putin to invade our allies, said Russia could, quote, do whatever the hell they want. 5 days before Russia attacked Ukraine, I met with President Zelensky to warn him about Russia's plan to invade. I helped mobilize a global response, over 50 countries, to defend against Putin's aggression. And as president, I will stand strong with Ukraine and our NATO allies. With respect,
Do you think she's being a hawk here because she has to, or because it's her actual views? A part of me thinks that she just doesn't want to be viewed as soft. Yes. Correct. White People Dini, thank you for the gift sub. Thank you. You have to understand that like one of Donald Trump's big appeals is that he would be a strong leader, that America will respect the US, and people don't respect Sleepy Joe. And this is 100% just to convince the American population that she can be just as hard on crime or whatever, as like tough as Trump can. And she has to double down on it because she could be seen as weak
Wait,
because
if he's
woman.
here, who's guarding the museum?
I'm sorry, I have to think Wall sold out. There's no way he heard of all these policy ideas with his track record and thought these are some great ideas. That's stupid. That's stupid. If you think that you can fix a system from within, you would always take the position of vice president. You would always take the position. If you were a senator or a governor or whatever, anyone with any political experience, and someone came to your doorstep and said, hey, do you want to be vice president? You can try and make the country better. You wouldn't take the offer because you'd be like, well, I wouldn't want anyone to think I sold out. Fucking just think about it for just 1 second. Just 1 second.
To the war in Gaza, President Biden and I are working around the clock because now is the time to get a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal.
Yeah, him becoming VP is literally him getting a louder voice. Yeah, think about the number of Americans that have now found out that Tim Walz gave kids free lunch at school. Think about all the Americans who didn't know that the government could just give all the kids in your state free lunch at school, that are now like, wait, why doesn't our state do that? Like, him being vice president, him being that big of a public figure makes all of his positions way more known. So, you know, which is wild that it isn't normalized. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. Has she mentioned double chocolate cookies yet? No. I love these chatters. I love these chatters. A free lunch. Oh my God. Wait a minute. You're telling me we pay for free stuff with taxes? You're so smart. I bet your dick is huge. I bet you like got A's on all of your exams, and you know, when you walk into like a bar, everyone's like, oh my God, Twitch user Stysist is here. Oh my God, he's so smart. He's here to tell us all that free things aren't actually free because we pay for them with our taxes. Thank God he came here to tell us this, because otherwise we wouldn't have known. Anything else you'd like to tell us? The sky is blue, but sometimes it's not. Wow. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Whoa. Whoa. Come on. This is like a symptom. This is like, I try not to use it because I think it's almost like a little Dunning-Kruger to use it. But this is like peak Dunning-Kruger when the person, when anyone says free in reference to a policy that subsidizes something through taxes, it's like, you really think you're the smartest person in this room because you figured it out. You figured it out. You figured out how we pay for free things. Love you. Never change, man. You make everybody else around you feel so smart.
And let me be clear. I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend.
It gets worse. Don't worry.
Defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7, including unspeakable sexual violence and the massacre of
We literally have footage. We have literal footage of prison guards, Israeli IDF prison guards, raping their prisoners. We're not going to mention those though. No? No, it's only bad when the brown people do. When the brown people do it, then it's bad. Oh. Okay.
Young people at a music festival. At the same
Also, what about literally the protests of okaying it? Yeah. The Israelis that are like, woo, yeah, rape those terrorists. It's like, I'm sorry. What did you say? One second. I must have not heard that right. You must have been, there's no way you said that. There's no way you said that. There's no way you said those words in that order. How many rapes were there on October 7th? I heard that there were at least 16 billion. This is true, actually. This is true. Like, I
time, what has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is...
Also, I'm sorry. I just have to say this one more time. The idea that there was this mass rape campaign by Hamas is so obviously just preying on people's stupidity and preying on people's anti-brown, scary brown rapist man racism. Because in the fucking reports that were conducted over the course of months, they were only able to find like 2 women that spoke up about this. And they didn't say that there was a mass rape campaign. In fact, there have now been multiple hostages that have been freed that said that they were not raped or touched inappropriately at any point. In fact, there was one hostage that said, I felt like I was emotionally raped because they didn't want to rape me because I have a Jewish nose. So I'm getting plastic surgery. That is the current state that we're in. That is the world that we live in right now. The real world that we live in. And you're telling me that there's this mass rape campaign by Hamas. Like, why can't they just be a terrorist organization that kills innocent civilians and we call them bad for that? Why do we gotta make this shit up that they're beheading babies? What the fuck, dude? Like, what the fuck? We can just dislike them because they're a terrorist organization. And we can try and defeat that by not killing tens of thousands of people in the process. Is that true? Yes. This is absolutely true. I don't understand why we gotta make shit up. What the fuck? What the fuck? Why? Why are we just spreading bullshit propaganda that's total lies? It's so crazy to me. It's so insane to me.
Is devastating. So many innocent lives lost. Desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety over and over again. The scale of suffering is heartbreaking. President Biden and I are working to end this war such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination. And know this, I will never hesitate to take whatever action is necessary to defend our forces and our interests against Iran and Iran-backed terrorists. I will not cozy up to tyrants and dictators like Kim Jong-un who are rooting for Trump.
all the libs are like, wow, she really played this perfectly.
Because, you know, they know he is easy to manipulate with flattery and favors. They know Trump won't hold autocrats accountable because he wants to be an autocrat himself. And as president, I will never waver in defense of America's security.
Thank you for pointing that out. Sarah Love, I think that was an accidental ban. Sorry, Foreign Sticks. You're a good chatter. Sorry, I think a mod accidentally banned you because they thought you were fucking fascist freak, but you're based. Your messages are based.
Security and ideals, because in the enduring struggle between democracy and tyranny, I know where I stand and I know where the United States belongs.
I love how the Kamala Harris speech is unironically like they say the next bombs. This entire speech was this. They say the next ones will be sent by a woman of color. Don't worry, guys. I will kill those brown people extra hard. They say the next ones will be sent by a brat. It really makes you feel like you're a part of Brat Summer. Oh, yeah. Something is playing in the background? What? No. Oh.
So fellow Americans, I love our country with all my heart. Everywhere I go, in everyone I meet, I see a nation that is ready to move forward, ready for the next step in the incredible journey that is America. I see an America where we hold fast to the fearless belief that built our nation and inspired the world, that here in this country, anything is possible, that nothing is out of reach. An America where we care for one another, look out for one another, and recognize that we have so much more in common than what separates us. That none of us has to fail for all of us to succeed. And that in unity there is strength. You know, our opponents in this race are out there every day denigrating America, talking about how terrible everything is. Well, my mother had another lesson she used to teach. Never.
Oh my God, no more lessons from your mother, no. Please. No more Mamala. Jimmy McGood, thank you for the 7 months. Thank you. I don't know how you do it. This is hard to watch. I have chat with me. Thank fucking God.
Never let anyone tell you who you are. You show them who you are. America, let us show each other and the world who we are and what we stand for. Freedom, opportunity, compassion, dignity, fairness, and endless possibilities.
Dude, it's very obvious that you judge a country's a country's values based on how they treat the worst off in the country, and that is definitely not how this is definitely not the virtues of our country, evidenced by how we treat the poor and homeless people and how we treat the brown people. Foreign Sticks, thank you for the 5 gift subs and the sub. Thank you. Sorry again about the ban. You were totally good. You were totally good. Sorry about that. There's just a lot of shitters. You're not a shitter. Thank you. Sorry, these chatters are, it's like a 50-50 with these chatters if they're super based or super cringe. Apes stronger together. When I was a young boy, my mother told, when I was a young boy. Wait, it's totally off. You guys know how it's supposed to be pronounced or sang. I know. It's My Chemical Romance Black Parade, but I'm like fucking it up, dude. Tone deaf this morning. Anyways, yeah, these are either like the fun, weird chatters or just like the insane chatters. Just like the not one that was terrible. Wow, dude. Jesus. You're tarnishing our generation? Okay. Damn. Okay. Greg, could thank you for the prime. Oh, thank you. We don't come to the stream for the perfect bitch, don't worry. I was trying to rhyme it to when I was a young warhawk, yeah. That's what I was like, wait, that's not right. That's not Greg, that's the Lion King? Oopsie. Wrong one. Sorry, still thinking about Scar. All right.
We are the heirs to the greatest democracy in the history of the world. And on behalf of our children and our grandchildren and all those who sacrificed so dearly for our freedom and liberty, we must be worthy of this moment. It is now our turn to do what generations before us have done, guided by optimism and faith, to fight for this country we love, to fight for the ideals we cherish, and to uphold the awesome responsibility that comes with the greatest privilege on earth, the privilege and pride of being an American.
Yeah. USA.
So let's get out there. Let's fight for it. Let's get out there. Let's vote for it. And together, let us write the next great chapter in the most extraordinary story ever told.
We must do what our ancestors did and fought for and vote for 95% Hitler. Yes. Well, that was like, I would say, on a scale of 1 to 10 on how happy it made me, at least a -1. And I would say on a 1 to 10 on effective rhetoric, if you're a liberal, I would say at least a 20. And I am the most accurate political pundit. 49 state landslide.
I was feeling so libbied up with the wall speech and the fine speech. Now I'm trying not to. I'm Brian Kilme. The Dems take a step forward, but then nuke themselves back into the Stone Age.
Thank you for the 12 months, paid step. Thank you. Yeah, we are Brian. We are Brian, dude. I wanted to watch this with you guys. I actually didn't get a chance to see this, but Trump's reaction to Harris's acceptance speech, him rambling. I really want to see this.
Donald Trump giving his rapid response to the acceptance speech from Vice President Kamala Harris at the DNC on their final night. Now, if you go by his Truth Social feed, Trump was watching intently, sharing an avalanche of posts attacking Harris and others. And you know what? He immediately called into Fox News after Harris finished speaking.
Here we go.
The biggest reaction is, why didn't she do the things that she's complaining about? All of these things that she talked about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do everything, but she didn't do any of it. She could have done it 3.5 years ago.
He'll have to be quite specific on what he thinks she did not do. My panel is back with me right now. First of all, it's not surprising that he was going to react, although he has revealed himself to have been watching. Again, probably no surprise. All week long, they've been going at him. Does his response or the steps to go forward, what actually should they be, Shermichael?
I mean, look, again, I want to acknowledge again the moment for the vice president. History was made, first woman of color, potentially could become president. There's a lot of black women in this country who are excited, a lot of women of every race who are excited, and I certainly acknowledge that point. However, I think cost is still a big deal. That's why this race is still very close, and I think that's what the former president is alluding to. Yes, people are excited and having a good time, but does excitement address the fact that credit card defaults are up? Does it address the fact that people can't pay their car loans, that people are struggling to pay their mortgages, that people who are struggling to pay their rent, they can't guarantee whether or not they'll be able to get rental assistance before they get evicted? And so Trump needs to stay on that message if this race is to stay competitive. Talk about those details.
He can't even stay on one topic for more than 5 seconds, dude. Here's the actual clip.
Let me ask you this, sir. There has been a huge appeal and momentum for women voters. She's trying to pull the youth vote, the Hispanic vote, the black vote back in her direction. Polls show that she's having some success in that at this point. So what are you going to do? What's your strategy to rebuild the momentum that you had with those voters?
No, she's not having success. I'm having success. I'm doing great with the Hispanic voters. I'm doing great with black men. I'm doing great with women because women want safety. They want safety. And they don't have safety when they have somebody allowing 20 million people into our country, many of them very dangerous people. No, it's only in your eyes that they have that, Martha. We're doing very
No, I'm having success. No, I'm helping everybody. It always boggles my mind how Trump can say the word black with the hard R.
well in the polls. We're leading in most of the polls. And in the swing states, we're leading in almost every one of them.
Mr. President,
Michigan,
let me interrupt.
The auto workers are voting for me because you're not going to have an auto industry if she gets elected.
Mr.
They're going
President,
to
two
all
quick
electric
things.
cars.
So here was the moment that the Fox hosts were basically just trying to kick him off, and he kept on ranting and raving. Play this clip.
Beaten Joe Biden in a Democrat primary. I have no doubt about it. And they made it absolutely impossible for him. They made it that you have to get 60, 70% of the vote just to get in. And you know what?
President.
In the end, the Democrats did the same thing to Joe Biden. They threw Joe Biden out of the party.
And that's
they
why
did
we
the
saw a
same
different
thing
night
as they did to
tonight.
RFK.
Mr. President, thank you so
very
much
much, sir.
for the time. We
Okay, thank you
appreciate
very
that
much.
live feedback.
He said, Grandpa, isn't it time for your nap? Grandpa, it's time for your nap.
Stay right there. Live edition of Gutfeld is coming up. Thank you so much for joining us from Chicago. It's been a great week.
Good night.
Here's another part from that interview where Donald Trump just makes up that 70% of Americans are living in poverty. Play this clip.
She didn't talk about fracking. She didn't talk about crime. She didn't talk about 70% of our people are living in poverty. She didn't talk about
He's so nervous. He's like, oh, they're going to kick me off. Quick, press as many buttons as you can.
housing, really. The trade deficit. She didn't talk about child trafficking that she's allowed to happen because she was the border czar and she presided over the weakest border in the history of our country. It's an invasion. I was there today, as you know, Brett. It's an invasion of our country taking place at our border, our southern border. It's a total invasion. And now it's starting at our northern border also, through Canada. And she didn't talk about any of that because she talks, but she doesn't do. It's no action. But, you know, look, other than that, it was a nice looking room.
Mr. President, Martha McCallum.
They didn't know what to say to that. They were like, ah, ha, 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 oh, the invasion. Yeah, of course. Mr. President, have you been taking your medication, sir?
I'm here.
And here Donald Trump continues just to yell at the Fox anchors as they're basically powerless to stop him or even ask any questions. Play the clip.
People, 20 million people have poured into our country, many of them from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylum, and record number of terrorists. And other countries are releasing their prisoners from their jails. They're emptying out their jails into the United States of America because of her incompetence and her bad border policies. She is a horrible, horrible person to run this country. We won't have a country if she gets elected.
Donald Trump continues here. He's talking about the American dream. I don't know, like what you were born into with a golden spoon in your mouth, and how you bankrupted almost every company you touched and screwed over all of your workers. Play this clip.
She said that she is promising middle class tax cuts, and she says that if you are elected, it will cost Americans $3,900 more a year in increased taxes. She's tying all of that to this Project 2025. That's where that number is coming from. What do you say to that?
Well, she knows I have nothing to do with Project 25. They throw it out. A group of people got together. They did a thing. I haven't even seen it. I don't want to see it. I told them specifically, I don't want to see it. People know where I stand. I lower taxes. She's
Dude, he's so crazy. Project 2025, I don't even know what that is. I tell them I don't even want to see it.
raising taxes. She's going to give a tax increase of 4 to 5 times what people and companies are paying right now. The country will go into a depression if they do it. She didn't talk about interest rates. I mean, the interest rates are now getting close to record rates. People can't do business. Nobody can borrow money. People can't go to the American dream and buy a house because they can't afford the interest rates. And even if they could, the money isn't available. She didn't talk about any of that.
So after Fox basically kicks Donald Trump off the air, he then goes to Newsmax, and then he claims that everybody's happy with how Roe v. Wade was overturned, and people are just, he said, it's the right, everyone was calling for it. Everyone was calling for it. Here, play this clip.
A lot of people would have thought, but everybody wanted that issue brought back to the states, the legal scholars, Democrats, Republicans, everybody. And we did that. And, you know, it's really become a almost, I think, look, I'm not going to say it's an issue that leans toward us, but people are happy. Every legal scholar wanted it brought back. They didn't want it in the federal government. And I was able to get it out, get it brought back to the states. And now the states are all voting on it, and it's where it should be. And I think you two agree with that. It's exactly where it should be. And this has gone on for 52 years. And now our country can be brought back and brought together.
You know, then he's trying to appeal to his QAnon base. So he talks about trafficking. Play this clip.
But I will tell you, I just watched it, very nonspecific. She didn't talk about many things like interest rates, China, fracking, and anywhere, let alone Pennsylvania, crime, poverty, trade deficits, child trafficking, woman trafficking, drugs, the border. She didn't talk about the most important thing.
Woman trafficking.
It was a very general speech.
And by the way, take a look at this unedited photo of Donald Trump, just what he looked like at the in Arizona when he spoke earlier today. Just take a look at what he physically looks like right there. And then Donald Trump repeated this line that he said before about how he's like ready to flee to Venezuela. Remember, he said that to Elon Musk. He gave a variation of that to the Newsmax host. Here, play the clip.
You look at Venezuela, they've gone into Caracas, which was a very unsafe city, and now it's safe. In fact, someday the three of us will have to go there. No, let's bring your husband with us also, right? And we'll bring some of the other people that are with you, because I like the people that are with you. And we'll go to Caracas because it'll be safer than any place in our country.
These poor people have no idea what to fucking say to this.
She's destroying our country.
The awkward smile that Customer service smile.
They're allowing the criminals to come in from other countries into the United States of America. She is destroying our country, and nobody covers that better than Greg.
Thank you, Mr. President. And you know,
Yeah, what a complete and utter disaster for Donald Trump there. Again, I'll show you just those messages that he was posting, post after post after post, mixed with weird ads of like selling bulletproof whiskey glasses, Trump assassination edition whiskey glasses, or like bringing in Russian mail order bride websites on as he keeps on posting. Anyway, folks, you can't make this up. Vice President Kamala
He's
Harris.
posting through the pain, dude. He's posting through it, bro. He's posting through it. Bro, you can't post through the pain. Can't do that, man. It's not good for you.
This speech, I mean, pitch perfect. I'm still a bit speechless here. History was made. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million. Oh, can I show you this? Here are some Trump supporters reacting to the speech. Play the clip.
Survivors of crime.
No
to
way.
remind them, no one should
way.
wish to fight alone.
Dude, Kamala Harris will never be my president.
I had to show that some of the right-wing influencers right there as caught by right-wing cope. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers together. Love this video?
I did love that video, actually. Thank you. Actually, I will subscribe. And I did love that video, so I will smash that like button. And in fact, you guys should go do so too. You guys should do so as well. Kept nice, thank you for the 31 months. Why? Just like, why? The happy dad sign being under there is so metaphorical. Just genuinely, like, the irony is so rich.
Them, no one should wish to fight alone.
Dude, Kamala Harris will never be my president.
Happy dad. Hard happy dad. Wait a minute. What the? So staged though? Yeah, it's just kind of sad is all. I just don't understand why. I just don't get it.